The worst part about being manipulated is how long it takes to realise it's happening. Looking back, I should have seen the signs that night at dinner. The way my mother's smile didn't quite reach her eyes, how my father kept checking his phone, and, most importantly, how my brother Killian was wearing his responsible adult costume. My name is Giselle, and 6 months ago I signed away my future because I still believed in family. It's a solid business plan this time, Killian said, sliding the folder across my parents' mahogany dining table. Clean energy consulting. I've got 3 major contracts lined up. I picked at my lasagna, the same recipe Mom had used to butter me up since childhood. Like the food truck venture was solid, or the cryptocurrency investment. That's not fair, Mom snapped, her fork clattering against her plate. Your brother has grown so much. Tell her, Charles. Dad cleared his throat, still staring at his phone. Killian's been sober 8 months now. He's different. I looked at my brother, really looked at him. Gone were the designer clothes and cocky smirk. He wore a simple button-down shirt, his hair neatly trimmed. He even had reading glasses perched on his nose. The perfect picture of reformation. I know I've messed up before, Killian said softly, but I've learned. I've changed. I need someone to believe in me. Just this once. Mom reached across the table, squeezing my hand. The bank needs a co-signer, someone with stable credit. You're the only one who can help. Because you and Dad already co-signed his last 3 failures? The words came out sharper than intended. Because you're his sister, Mum's grip tightened. Family helps family, or have you forgotten that? Dad finally looked up. We raised you better than this, Giselle. The guilt was immediate, crushing. I'd heard that phrase my entire life. We raised you better. Translation: don't question, don't refuse, don't disappoint. How much? I asked, already hating myself for wavering. 200,000, Killian said quickly. But the contracts will cover the payments easily. You won't have to pay a cent. I nearly choked on my wine. 200? Are you insane? Language, Mom warned. Besides, it's just a formality. The business plan is bulletproof. Show her, Killian. He pulled out more papers. Projections, contracts, testimonials. Everything looked professional, polished, almost too perfect. I've changed, he repeated, eyes wide behind those new glasses. Please, Giselle, I need this chance. 3 hours later, my hand shaking, I signed the papers. Mum hugged me, whispering how proud she was. Dad nodded approvingly. Killian promised I wouldn't regret it. I did. God, I did. The letter arrived exactly 6 months later. I was having my morning coffee when I saw the bank's logo through the envelope window. My stomach dropped before I even opened it. Default notice, missed payments, full amount due. My phone rang immediately. Mom, of course. She always had a 6th sense for disasters. What did you do? She demanded without hello. What did I do? The letter just arrived. You must have filed something wrong, she cut in. Killian says the paperwork was perfect. You probably missed something when you signed. I gripped the phone tighter. That's not possible. I checked everything. Well, clearly you didn't, her voice rose. Now everything's ruined. Your father's beside himself. Killian might lose everything. I might lose everything, I countered. I'm the co-signer. Don't be dramatic. Figure out what you did wrong and fix it. She hung up. Minutes later, Dad texted. Should have read the fine print. Disappointed. I drove to their house in a daze, determined to find my copies of the paperwork. Mom was out at her garden club, but Dad let me in with barely a glance, muttering something about cleaning up your own messes. In Mom's home office, I found the filing cabinet where she kept all the family documents. My folder was thin. Birth certificate, old report cards, the loan paperwork. But as I pulled it out, something slipped from behind it. Another folder, unlabeled, stuffed with printed emails. The first line caught my eye. She'll sign. She always does what we tell her. My hands started shaking as I read more. The emails were dated weeks before that dinner, before Killian's miraculous transformation, before the guilt trip and the lasagna and the promises. They had planned everything, and I had played right into their hands. I sat on Mom's office floor, emails scattered around me like confetti from hell's own party. Each message was worse than the last. A digital trail of calculated betrayal. Perfect Giselle, Killian had written. So stable, so responsible, born to bail me out. Mum's reply made me physically ill. Once he defaults, she'll eat the loss out of shame. She always does. Remember Christmas 2019 when she paid your credit card? I grabbed my phone, hands trembling, and called the only person I trusted. Rosalind picked up on the second ring. I need you, my voice cracked. Now. I'm in a meeting, but they planned it. All of it. I found emails. Silence. Then, stay where you are. Don't confront them. I'm coming. 20 minutes later, Rosalind's heels clicked on the hardwood floors. She found me still surrounded by paper, trying to organize the evidence chronologically. Show me, she said, kneeling beside me. I handed her the worst one, dated 3 weeks before that family dinner. Charles, Mum had written to Dad, make sure you act disappointed when we bring up the loan. You know how she crumbles when you're disappointed. And remind Killian to wear something modest, no Rolex. Rosalind, former corporate fraud investigator turned law firm administrator, read each email with growing disgust. This isn't just manipulation, Giselle. This is premeditated fraud. They deliberately misled both you and the bank. What do I do? First, we document everything, take photos, make copies. She pulled out her phone. Then we talk to Vivian Barnes, the fraud attorney, the best fraud attorney I know. Don't confront your family yet. Let's build the case first. We spent the next hour photographing every email, every document we could find. In one folder labelled Business Plan, we found drafts of Killian's proposal, each version more inflated than the last. Look at these guaranteed contracts, Rosalind pointed. The companies don't even exist. They created fake letterheads. My phone buzzed. Mum, coming home early, garden club cancelled. Everything okay? Get your things, Rosalind ordered. Now. We barely made it out before Mum's car pulled into the driveway. I saw her puzzled expression in my rearview mirror as we passed. At Rosalind's office, Vivian Barnes was waiting. She wore a sharp blazer and an expression that could cut glass. Show me, she said without preamble. I forwarded her the photos. She read in silence, occasionally making notes. This is, she paused, choosing her words carefully, significantly worse than standard family fraud. They didn't just manipulate you, they defrauded a federal lender. This could go criminal. Criminal, my stomach lurched. Wire fraud, loan application fraud, conspiracy to defraud. The emails prove premeditation. Vivian leaned forward. The question is, what do you want? I want, my voice caught. What did I want? Justice? Revenge? My family to suffer like they made me suffer? My phone buzzed again. Mum, did you take something from my office? Then Dad, your mother's upset. Call immediately. Finally, Killian, whatever you think you found, you're wrong. Don't do anything stupid. I showed the messages to Vivian. She smiled, but it wasn't friendly. They know you know, she said. Now they're scrambling. Perfect time to strike. Strike how? We send everything to the bank's fraud division, copy their legal department, let them do the heavy lifting while we prepare civil action. Rosalind squeezed my hand. It's your choice, honey. But they knew exactly what they were doing. They counted on your love and guilt. They weaponized your decency. Another text from Mom. Answer me now. I thought about that dinner, the lasagna, the reading glasses, the practice speeches about family loyalty. All orchestrated, all fake. Do it, I said to Vivian. Send everything. She nodded and started typing. I'm copying Carl Jensen in fraud compliance. He owes me a favour. What do I tell them? I asked as my phone buzzed for the 10th time. Nothing yet. Let them sweat. Vivian hit send with a flourish. But I suggest you go home and pack a bag. When they realise what's happening, they'll show up at your door. And then, she smiled again, fiercer this time. Then you get to watch their perfect plan explode in their faces. Sometimes the best revenge is simply exposing the truth, My phone rang. Mom again. I declined the call and texted back 4 words that would change everything. I forwarded the emails. The response was immediate. Mom, you wouldn't dare. Oh, but I would. I finally would. I spent the next 2 hours pacing my apartment, watching my phone explode with messages. Rosalind stayed with me, making coffee and keeping me from responding to their increasingly desperate texts. Come to the house now. You're making a terrible mistake. Answer your phone. We need to talk about this as a family. Finally, I texted back. Fine, come over. All of you. Rosalind raised an eyebrow. You sure? I want to see their faces, I said, when they realise they can't manipulate me anymore. She nodded. I'll be in the bedroom. Just shout if you need me. They arrived like a storm. Mum bursting through the door first, Dad trailing behind, Killian bringing up the rear without his fake glasses. What have you done? Mom demanded, her face flushed. Do you have any idea? Sit down, I cut her off, pointing to my couch. All of you. Don't you dare take that tone with me, Mom started, but Dad grabbed her arm. Let's hear what she has to say, he muttered. Smart man, finally reading the room. They sat. Mum perched on the edge like my couch might infect her. Dad slumped like he'd aged 10 years, Killian sprawled with false bravado. The emails were private, he said. You had no right. Private? I laughed. Like this one. I held up my phone and read, She's so pathetically eager to please, it's almost too easy. Mum's lasagna and Dad's disappointment routine always works. Mum's face went white. That's out of context. Or this gem from you, Mum. Once the business fails, she'll be too ashamed to fight back. Remember to suggest she made mistakes with the paperwork. Giselle, Dad tried, we were just planning to destroy me, I finished. Conspiring to stick me with a $200,000 debt, breaking federal lending laws. Killian stood up. You're blowing this way out of proportion. The bank's fraud division disagrees. I watched their faces crumble. They have everything, the emails, the fake business contracts, the whole scheme. Mom shot to her feet. You stupid, ungrateful child. After everything we've done for you. Done to me, I corrected. And I'm done letting you do it. We'll deny everything, Killian said, but his voice shook. It's your word against ours. It's your emails against you. Your forgeries, your fraud. The bank's already investigating. Dad finally spoke up. You've ruined everything. Your brother could go to jail. Maybe he should, I shot back. Maybe you all should. Mum stepped toward me, hand raised. I didn't flinch. Touch me, I said quietly, and I'll add assault to the list. She dropped her hand. You're no daughter of mine. You're right. I'm not your daughter anymore. I'm not your safety net. I'm not your victim. We can fix this, Dad tried again. As a family. Family? I pulled out one last email. Like when Mum wrote, she's not really family anyway, just a convenient backup plan. Mum's face crumpled. Not from guilt, from rage. You'll regret this. We'll make sure everyone knows what you've done. What I've done? I stepped closer. I've exposed the truth. Go ahead, tell everyone. Show them the emails. Explain the fake contracts. I'm sure your garden club will be fascinated. Killian grabbed Mom's arm. Let's go. We need to call a lawyer. Good idea, I said. You'll need one. The bank's fraud investigator should be calling you soon. They left in a rush, Mom crying theatrically, Dad avoiding my eyes, Killian throwing one last venomous look over his shoulder. Rosalind emerged from the bedroom. You okay? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Dawson, this is Carl Jensen from First National's Fraud Compliance Division. Do you have a moment? I put him on speaker. Yes. We've reviewed the documents you sent. This is significant. We'll need you to come in tomorrow to make a formal statement and... He paused. You should know we're obligated to pursue criminal charges if the evidence supports it. I understand. Most people wouldn't report their own family, he said. That took courage. I thought about Mom's raised hand, Killian's threats, Dad's passive enabling. No, I replied. It took too long. After hanging up, Rosalind hugged me. You did it. You really did it. My phone buzzed with one last text from Mom. You've destroyed this family. I typed back. No, you did that. I'm just making sure everyone knows it. Then I blocked their numbers, poured a large glass of wine, and finally allowed myself to smile. The unravelling of my family's reputation happened slowly, then all at once. Like watching dominoes fall in slow motion, each piece toppled precisely where I knew it would. First came the whispers at Dad's accounting firm. I heard through a colleague that he'd been called into HR to discuss some concerning allegations. He emerged looking grey-faced, his corner office suddenly vacant during lunch hours. Then Killian's business partners started jumping ship. His LinkedIn connections dropped by half, his Instagram went private. But Mum's fall was the most spectacular. Did you hear? Rosalind rushed to my desk one morning, waving her phone. Your mother's been removed from the garden club board. I clicked the link she showed me. There it was on the club's website. Emergency leadership changes effective immediately. Apparently, Rosalind grinned, someone anonymously emailed them about a concerning federal investigation involving their treasurer. I couldn't help but smile. Mum had lauded that treasurer position over every other garden club member for years. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Margaret from the garden club. Your mother says she's having thoughts of self-harm. She's at your old house alone. Please check on her. Classic Mom, I muttered, showing Rosalind. Don't fall for it, she warned. That's her favourite trick, remember? Like when she threatened to drive off a bridge if you moved out. I know, just. She's manipulating you again. Rosalind grabbed my shoulders. Call the police for a welfare check if you're worried. But don't go there. I nodded and dialed the non-emergency line. 20 minutes later, they called back. Mom, we checked on your mother. She's fine, having tea with her book club. Of course she was. Later that afternoon, Carl from the bank requested an urgent meeting. I found him in a conference room, surrounded by papers. We found something interesting, he said, sliding a document across the table. These are transfer records from the business account. Look at the dates. I scanned the paper. Large transfers had started leaving the account just days after the loan cleared. Where did the money go? That's the interesting part. Carl pointed to an account number. This is a personal account registered to your mother. She received over $50,000 before the business even opened. My hands shook. So they never intended to run a real business? No. The evidence suggests this was planned fraud from the beginning. What happens now? Wire fraud across state lines is a federal offence. He met my eyes. Your mother could face prison time. I left the bank in a daze, only to find Killian waiting by my car. You've got some nerve, he snarled, stepping closer. I gripped my keys between my knuckles. Back off! You think you're so smart, don't you? Running to the bank, playing victim? He jabbed a finger at me. You've ruined everything. You ruined it, I shot back. You and Mom and Dad. I just exposed what you did. Mom might go to prison, he was shouting now, drawing attention from passers-by. Then she shouldn't have committed fraud. He lunged forward, but a security guard appeared from nowhere. Everything okay here? Fine, Killian spat. I was just leaving. He turned back to me. This isn't over. Yes, it is. I met his gaze. And if you come near me again, I'll add harassment to the charges. The security guard stayed until Killian's car disappeared. Want me to file a report? No, I said. But could you walk me to my car? At home I found an email from Dad. Your mother's not eating. She cries all night. Is this what you wanted? I started to reply, then remembered what Vivian said. Don't engage in their guilt trips. Forward everything to me. I sent her the email instead. My phone rang minutes later. Vivian. Good news, she said. The bank's preparing their case. They want to move forward with charges. Against who? Killian definitely. Your mother probably. Your father... She paused. We found something else. He knew about everything from the beginning. There's an email where he suggests using your credit score because it was the highest. I thought about all the times Dad had stood by silently, watching Mom and Killian manipulate me. Good, I said. Let them all face consequences. Are you sure? Once this starts, I'm sure. I thought about Killian in the parking lot, Mom's fake suicide threat, Dad's guilt-tripping email. They made their choices. Now they can live with them. After hanging up, I poured a glass of wine and opened my laptop. A new email notification popped up from Carl. Just confirmed with federal prosecutors. They're taking the case. Prepare to testify. I clicked reply. I'm ready. And I was, finally, absolutely ready. The first sign that Mom had launched her counterattack came during Sunday service. I hadn't been to church in weeks, but Mrs. Peterson from my old youth group texted me. We're all praying for your mental health, dear. I showed Rosalind over brunch. Mental health? She scrolled through her phone. Oh boy, your mum's been busy. Check Facebook. There it was, posted in the church community group. Please pray for our daughter, suffering from paranoid delusions and turning against her loving family. Mental illness is so cruel. She's trying to discredit you before the case goes public, Rosalind said. Classic move. My hands shook as I read the comments. Poor Greta, such a devoted mother. We're here for you. Mental illness destroys families. Don't engage, Rosalind warned, but I was already calling Vivian. I've seen it, Vivian said before I could speak. I'm drafting a cease and desist letter now. Defamation during an active federal investigation. Your mother's digging her own grave. Later that day, Dad called from an unknown number. Your mother's in the hospital, he said flatly. My heart stopped. What? Anxiety attack after the bank froze our accounts. They what? Don't act surprised. They're calling it asset preservation during the investigation. I can't even access my pension fund. His voice hardened. Happy now. I gripped the phone tighter. You did this to yourselves. No, you did this to your own mother, your own family. Stop it, I snapped. You knew what they were planning. You helped them. Silence. Then, you've changed, Giselle. You've become cruel. The word hit like a slap. After he hung up, I ran to the bathroom and threw up. Was I becoming cruel? Was revenge changing me? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. If you think you're so smart, wait until everyone at your firm learns what kind of daughter you really are. Kay. I forwarded it to Vivian, adding, Killian's threatening me again. She replied instantly. Document everything and check your credit report. I did. There were 3 hard inquiries I hadn't authorized. He's trying to open accounts in my name, I texted back. Got it. Calling the bank now. We'll add identity theft to the charges. That night I couldn't sleep. Every noise made me jump. Every shadow seemed threatening. When someone knocked at 2 a.m., I nearly screamed. Police, a voice called. Welfare check. I opened the door to 2 officers. Let me guess. My mother called? Said you were suicidal, the female officer confirmed, looking apologetic. We have to check. I'm fine. She's the one under federal investigation for fraud. This is harassment. They left after taking my statement, but sleep was impossible now. The next morning, Rosalind found me at my desk, staring at nothing. You look terrible, she said. Maybe I am terrible, I whispered. Maybe they're right. What kind of daughter does this? Stop. She pulled up a chair. What kind of parents defraud their child? What kind of brother threatens identity theft? You're not the villain here. Then why do I feel like one? Because they programmed you to feel guilty for standing up to them. She grabbed my hands. Listen to me. You're having normal reactions to abnormal circumstances. They're the ones breaking laws and making threats. My phone buzzed. Carl from the bank. We've confirmed the identity theft attempts, he said. Your brother tried to open 3 credit cards using your social security number. Want to press charges? I thought about Killian's threat, Mum's Facebook posts, Dad's accusations. Yes, I said, my voice stronger than I felt. Press charges. After hanging up, I opened my email to find a message from Mum, sent to my entire contact list. My daughter has betrayed her family due to severe mental instability. Please help her seek treatment before she destroys more lives. Rosalind read it over my shoulder. That's it. We're getting a restraining order. Can we? Harassment, defamation, identity theft attempts? Hell yes, we can. I nodded, feeling steadier. Okay, do it. She hugged me tight. You're not cruel, Giselle. You're strong. And they hate that they can't break you anymore. My phone buzzed again. Another unknown number, but this time it was different. This is Detective Rivera. We'd like to talk to you about your brother's recent activities. Can you come to the station? I looked at Rosalind, who nodded encouragingly. Yes, I replied. I'll tell you everything. Maybe I wasn't cruel. Maybe I was just finally fighting back. Detective Rivera's office smelled like coffee and old files. She spread documents across her desk while I recounted everything. The loan, the emails, the threats. Your brother's been busy, she said, pulling out surveillance photos. These are from the bank where he tried to open credit cards in your name. And this, she slid another photo across. This is him following you to work yesterday. My stomach lurched. I hadn't even noticed. We're adding stalking charges, she continued. But there's more. Your mother's been making interesting transfers. She showed me bank statements. Large sums moving between accounts, some offshore. They're hiding money, I realized. Trying to. Not very well. Rivera smiled grimly. We've frozen most of it. The bank's legal team is preparing subpoenas for everything else. My phone buzzed. Vivian, major breakthrough. Need you at my office now. At the law firm, Vivian had transformed her office into a war room. Papers covered every surface, and Carl from the bank was already there. Look what we found, Vivian said, handing me a stack of documents. Your father's been busy too. I scanned the papers. Shell companies, hidden accounts, years of suspicious transactions. He's been doing this for a decade, Carl explained, using different family members' identities to create businesses, secure loans, then default. You're not the first victim, just the first to fight back. There are others. 3 cousins, an aunt, even your grandmother. Vivian pointed to various documents. All pressured to sign loans or documents, all stuck with debt while your parents and brother profited. My hands shook. Does the family know? They will, Carl smiled. The bank's serving subpoenas tomorrow. Everyone involved will be questioned. A knock at the door made us all jump. It was Rosalind. Your father's in the lobby, she said, demanding to see you. Vivian stood. You don't have to... No, I cut her off. I want to hear what he has to say. Dad looked older than ever, his shoulders slumped under his expensive suit. Can we talk privately? He asked. Anything you say to me, you can say in front of my lawyer. He sighed, sinking into a chair. Your mother... She can't go to prison. She won't survive it. That's not my problem. She's your mother. Is she? I pushed the documents toward him. Like she was Grandma's daughter when you scammed her out of her retirement? His face went pale. How did you... We found everything, Dad. Every scam. Every victim. Did you think nobody would ever connect the dots? You don't understand, he started. I understand perfectly. You and Mom raised Killian to be entitled and cruel, then used the rest of us to fund his failures. We did what we had to. To what? To steal from your own family, to commit fraud, to destroy lives. He leaned forward. I'll tell you everything, names, dates, accounts, just help your mother avoid prison. I stared at him. You'd throw Mom under the bus to save yourself. I'm trying to protect her. No, I said quietly. You're trying to protect yourself, like always. Giselle, please. The FBI is involved now, Dad. There are paper trails, witnesses, victims. It's over. His face hardened. Then you leave me no choice. What's that supposed to mean? Your mother... He paused dramatically. She's saying she'll hurt herself if this goes public. Vivian stepped forward. Mr. Dawson, are you threatening suicide by proxy to manipulate your daughter during a federal investigation? He paled. I'm just telling you what she said. On record, Vivian continued, pointing to her phone. Recording. Dad stood so fast his chair toppled. You've become a monster, he spat at me. No, I replied calmly. I've become strong. There's a difference. After he stormed out, Vivian played the recording for Carl. Adding witness intimidation to the charges, he said, typing notes, and attempted coercion. My phone buzzed. Detective Rivera. Your father just left your mother's house with 3 suitcases. Want us to follow him? I showed the message to Vivian. Let him run, she said. It only makes their case worse. I nodded, feeling strangely calm. What happens now? Now, Vivian gathered the documents. Now we let justice take its course. The dominoes are falling, Giselle. All you have to do is watch. And for the first time since this began, I felt not guilt, not rage, but peace. They had built their empire on lies and fraud. Now they could watch it burn. The repossession happened on a Tuesday. I wasn't there to see it, but videos circulated quickly through the neighbourhood group chat. Mum screaming as they towed Killian's leased BMW. Dad's prized boat being hitched to a truck. The vacation house in Vermont, seized and padlocked. Your mother had quite the meltdown, Rosalind said, showing me a clip. Threw her designer handbag at the repo man and everything. All those luxuries bought with stolen money, I muttered. My phone rang, Carl from the bank. Good news, he said. Federal prosecutors are moving forward. Killian's being indicted today. Your mother's named as co-conspirator. And Dad? Still missing, but his accounts are frozen. He won't get far. I had to testify the next morning. The courthouse was packed, and apparently financial fraud cases drew quite a crowd when they involved family drama. Just tell the truth, Vivian coached me before I took the stand. Let the evidence speak for itself. The prosecutor was a sharp-eyed woman named Diana. Ms. Dawson, please tell us about the night you signed the loan documents. I described everything, the dinner, the manipulation, the fake contracts. As I spoke, I could see Mom in the gallery, dabbing her eyes theatrically with a handkerchief. Killian sat with his lawyer, trying to look contrite in an ill-fitting suit. And when did you discover the emails? Diana asked. 6 months later, after the business defaulted, I found them in my mother's filing cabinet. I'd like to enter exhibits A through F, Diana announced, displaying the emails on a screen. Please read the highlighted portion. I took a breath and read Mom's words. Once he defaults, she'll eat the loss out of shame. She always does. Remember Christmas 2019 when she paid his credit card? A murmur ran through the courtroom. Mom's theatrical sniffling stopped. And this email from your brother. She's so pathetically eager to please. It's almost too easy. Killian wouldn't meet my eyes. What happened after you reported the fraud? They threatened me, tried to open credit cards in my name. My mother spread rumours about my mental health. My father threatened that she'd hurt herself if I testified. The judge leaned forward. Threatened self-harm to prevent testimony. Yes, Your Honour. More murmurs. Mum's lawyer looked distinctly uncomfortable. After court, Carl pulled me aside. That was perfect. Clear, calm, devastating. What happens now? They'll offer plea deals. Your brother's looking at federal time. Your mother might get probation if she cooperates. And Dad? Interpol found him in Mexico this morning. He's being extradited. I nodded, feeling oddly empty. Is it wrong that I don't feel bad? No, Carl said firmly. Listen, I've worked fraud cases for 15 years. You know what makes this one different? You didn't just protect yourself. You stopped them from hurting anyone else. A reporter approached us. Excuse me, Miss Dawson. I'm Dana from White Collar Crime Stories podcast. Would you be interested in telling your story? Before I could answer, I heard Mum's voice. Giselle! She stood at the courthouse steps, her designer outfit wrinkled, her makeup streaked. Don't you dare talk to reporters, she hissed. Haven't you hurt this family enough? Family, I laughed. You mean your victims like Grandma, the cousins? She paled. That's different. No, it's not, and now everyone will know exactly what you did. I'll never forgive you for this, she spat. Good, I replied, because I'll never forgive you either. She stormed off to her waiting lawyer. Killian tried to approach next, but court officers stepped between us. Your brother's being taken into custody, Carl explained. The judge revoked his bail after hearing about the identity theft attempts. I watched them lead Killian away in handcuffs, his fake contrition replaced by raw fury. Dana, the reporter, was still waiting. Would you like to tell your side? I thought about all the other families out there, all the other daughters and sons being manipulated by toxic parents. Yes, I said, I'll tell you everything. Later, at home, Rosalind opened champagne. To justice. To consequences, I added. My phone buzzed, a text from Carl. Just heard from prosecutors, your mother's taking a plea deal. She'll testify against your father. Of course she will, I muttered. You okay? Rosalind asked. I looked around my apartment, my safe space, my fortress against their manipulation. Yeah, I said, I really am. Because finally, after all these years, their actions had consequences. Their lies had exposure. Their perfect family facade had crumbled. And I was still standing. The moving truck pulled away from my old apartment building as Rosalind helped me carry the last box to my car. Ready for your new place? She asked. More than ready. My phone buzzed. Dana. From the podcast, episode just dropped, already trending. I clicked the link. The episode title read, Family Fraud, How One Woman Exposed a Generational Scam Ring. Don't read the comments, Rosalind warned. But I already was. This story gave me courage to check my mum's investment opportunity documents, called my bank after listening, found unauthorized accounts in my name, finally reported my brother's fraud. You're helping people, Rosalind smiled. Another text came through, Carl. Your mother's sentencing today. Thought you'd want to know. I didn't attend the hearing, but Vivian did. She called afterward. 5 years probation, hefty fines, and mandatory psychiatric evaluation, she reported. She tried to blame everything on your father, but the judge wasn't buying it. And Killian, 18 months federal time, no chance of early release. Dad's trial was scheduled for next month. He'd pleaded not guilty, despite overwhelming evidence. Classic Dad, denying responsibility until the bitter end. At my new apartment across town, Rosalind helped me unpack. The space was smaller but brighter, with huge windows and no memories. Look what came, she said, handing me an envelope. Inside was a check from the bank's Victim Restitution Fund, along with a letter from Carl. Your testimony helped us identify 12 other victims of your family's fraud scheme. Thanks to you, they're all getting compensation. Some things really do come full circle. My phone rang, an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Giselle? It was my grandmother. I needed to say thank you. My throat tightened. Grandma? The bank called. They found the papers your father made me sign. They're clearing my debt. Her voice cracked. I've been too ashamed to tell anyone for years. You have nothing to be ashamed of, I said. They manipulated all of us. You were so brave to stand up to them. I wish I'd been that brave. After we hung up, I found an old photo album. There we all were. Mom, Dad, Killian, me. The perfect family portrait, hiding perfect lies. I ripped out the photo and threw it away. My doorbell rang. A delivery man held a large envelope. Sign here. Inside was a letter from the women's shelter where I'd been volunteering. Dear Giselle, your anonymous donation helped 3 women escape financial abuse last month. One said your podcast episode gave her the courage to check her husband's loan documents. She found evidence of fraud and left that night. Sometimes the bravest thing we do is tell the truth. Thank you for helping us help others. I pinned the letter to my new bulletin board. Chinese takeout, Rosalind suggested, to christen the new place. Over noodles and wine, she asked the question I'd been avoiding. Do you miss them? I miss who I thought they were, I answered honestly, but that family never really existed. My phone buzzed one last time. Detective Rivera. Thought you'd want to know. Your father took a plea deal. He's giving up everything to avoid maximum security time. Your mother's garden club friends might be interested to know where their investment money really went. I smiled, imagining Mum's face when her social circle discovered the truth. You know what the best revenge is? I asked Rosalind. What's that? Living well and making sure they can never hurt anyone else. She raised her wine glass. To living well? And to the truth, I added. Later that night, I sat by my new window, watching the city lights. My phone showed 3 missed calls from Mom's latest burner number. I blocked it without hesitation. On my laptop, another comment appeared on the podcast. Listening to your story saved my life. I finally checked my son's business documents and found the fraud. Thank you for showing me I'm not alone. I thought about Mom in her empty house, Dad facing prison, Killian in his cell. They wanted me to be the one left with nothing, and now they're the ruins they tried to bury me under. Opening my email, I typed a message to the women's shelter, making another donation. Use it for someone who needs to start over. Tell them it gets better, tell them they're stronger than they know, and tell them the truth always comes out in the end. Signed, someone who survived. Because that's what I am now. Not a victim, not a dutiful daughter, not a family scapegoat. A survivor. And my story isn't over. It's just beginning.